I will follow the April 6th Finance and Human Resources Committee to order. Roll call. We're all here.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Without objection, I will approve the agenda and the previous committee meeting minute from the 9th of March.
Second. Motion. Second.
Motion. Second. Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Public comments on agenda items.
Scott Drew.
Okay.
I think he's here for public safety, not for this meeting.
Okay. Chairperson comments. I don't have any off my head. Okay. Number 7, discussion, then motion to approve the monthly bills, journal entries for previous month and financial report.
Put on a motion. Second.
Any discussion on any of it? Any questions?
Not for me.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 8, review of first quarter of the 2023 village budget summary.
What you have in front of you is a simple 2-pager. I pull out some of the high value items that we do as a village and where we stand on expenditure so far. This is just a compilation of all our expenditure reports that you guys receive every month. The top part is our revenue. So for the most part, we got a big bulk of the village tax income already. We barely get any wastewater or water yet. They'll come in quarterly as as the year goes on. So that's nothing new there. Some of the more higher level separate accounts, shared revenue, highway aid, you see there the percent, the amounts that come in over time. No concerns there. If you go down all the line items, there are none that are busting what I call the average for the first quarter. The one that I need to figure out a better way to portray is general government, and that's because we use our general government to pay the majority of all our employee benefits, insurances. So because we pay those all in the first quarter, it would always look like we're spending more in general government. And general government is the front office, it's us three. So I don't want you to get the impression that us three are blowing through the village budget. It's because we put all those items in that category, hence that's a higher percentage. But it's in line with what the bills we get and how we pay them. So nothing crisis there. Your separate account statuses are just a snapshot of our accounts that we have, either savings or reserves, and that's where we stand on all those areas. No concern there. They continue just to pile some money in there. This is as of the end of the month, so we should be good there. You see my commentary there of I'm really not concerned as the entirety of the budget. We are continuing the third paragraph. We are continuing to seek grants as they come in, and I'll update you as needed. When it comes to those, we still have a few that are out there that are waiting on answers back. The biggest issue that it's really more I gotta present this data through either public safety or FHR, is that we're having a consistent issue with our payouts to specifically our EMS workers of the fire department. They are responding as required, as asked, no issues there. You see the percentages there. There's an ambulance being sent to all these calls that we pay for. This is our response locally by our firefighters that go to the scene to assist, to help. We're really burning, and that's where the fire department's burning through their budget quicker. Is that an example? One of those calls could last, they would take more time to get to the fire station than go to the call. I'll use that as an example. By the time they get to the call, the two or three individuals that show up, when they get the beeper, the ambulance is already there, the person's being toted away, and they're maybe helping close the scene. And they get paid X amount. They get paid the same that we would have for a firefighter fighting a fire for 2 hours. They could get paid the same for 20 minutes of work. So that's a concern of mine from a management perspective, budget-wise perspective, that I will bring to you guys, working with our chief, either we need to rethink the pay for that type of call. Is it equivalent to 2 hours of fighting a fire? We need to really relook that, or figure a different way of how we address that. I don't want to squash it. I don't want to have those guys not continue to volunteer, but it is consuming a large portion of our fire department budget for non-firefighting stuff.
I had a question, and I guess maybe if you can clarify, is I thought that if a first responder, and this is where I guess I should know, but I don't know, if a first responder from our department goes and the ambulance goes, I thought Rapids gave us a kickback as saying that I don't know if there was a reduction in cost.
We do get what do we get back, Diane?
We do get, payment, I don't know.
It's
really not much.
Yeah, oh no, it's
started out at $10 a run.
Yeah, so we do get that, and that's where the accounting is by the fire department here. These numbers are from Rapids, so out of the what I put in there, well, I don't have I just put you the percentages. Out of the times that we show up, Rapids tracks it, they send me a monthly report on it, and that's what we should get back money-wise, monetarily. It is, it's probably in the $100 range, $200 range, maybe. And that's us doing, 30 calls. It's a very minimal reimbursement. Okay. Yeah. So
are there too many people?
No, it's really, the consistency is really 3 of our firefighters we have 7 in the emergency services, the EMS field. So 7 of our 16 are qualified to do this. And out of those 7, 3 are consistently the ones that are able to show up. So they're going, they're volunteering, they're showing up, they're doing everything they need to do. I guess the question is, we just all got to be good with that's where a lot of our firefighter budget's going.
And I guess, and the other thing is Rapids is probably going to increase that ambulance.
It's triple. As of the end of this year, it's triple.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's something we can.
Yeah, so that's just something I'm going to have to do some internal digesting some numbers going back. I'll present that through this committee as well as public safety for a discussion. And we'll see how we address it. That was really, I think there was an impression last year that the fire department busted the budget based on fires. That's not the case. It was because of this. Throughout the year, the amount of emergency responders responding and what we pay them was consuming the largest portion of their budget.
It's been that way forever.
Well, yeah, and we do get more emergency calls than fire calls, sure. So as long as we all understand that, I'm not going to argue against it. I just want to be totally transparent on that when it comes down to the number side. So that's it on that. And then at the bottom, this is more so not a true budget amendment, but I want it always documented quarterly that if there's something that raises past that wasn't discussed in December when we approved the budget, either a line item adjustment or something new money that came to us, we really don't, we track it through Diane's accounting. We track it through the monthly report that you would get, but it's kind of lost in that discussion. So the way I capture it for every 3 months, if we do something like that, these are 3 examples, I'll just pull them out, I'll throw them on there. And then in the official record, we have a tracking mechanism that we spent X amount. It wasn't talked about in budget time, but we all approved it at some level. So in this case, we are willing to spend the $10,000 for the grant money that we're going to get from the county to a project. We internally are going to use some of the Nepco Lake Road planning money to help with the repairs on Nepco Lake Road, the older portion of Nepco Lake Road, not the new area that we're going to get. That was something that's definitely necessary to do. And the only one, 2,700 was for what? Oh, the slide. So we budgeted the slide. It came from legacy money. So it really doesn't come out of general fund. I need to change the wording on that. It came from legacy grant money, but it wasn't a specific line item in the legacy. So I just wanted to capture that for legacy purposes that we spent some money to fix a slide. So I'm calling this loosely a budget amendment, to give you guys the awareness that we're doing some shuffling of some money. And other than some questions, that's all I got on it.
Anybody have any other questions at all?
I do have a question about the slide. So if we took that from the legacy grant, is that grant specific to the bike path?
The way we worded the grant was, there was a portion, I think $35,000 for park improvements
Oh, okay, so,
for our network of parks. And that's how we justify that use of money.
okay,
And we give them an annual report. It'll be a line item where we spend it all. There's no issue. I already called them and said, we're spending a little at a time. They're fine.
Anything else? No? Okay. Then number 9, discussion on the TIP economic incentive draft program as discussed by the PIP committee.
You have a 2-pager. It's went through TIF. There were some adjustments went through PIT committee. There were some recommendations, adjustments. This is the byproduct of that for your review for commentary. The TIF the PIT committee is wanting to revisit this at the next official meeting once the new committee is established. So this is not a live program. This is utilizing the funding that's in our TIF district, specifically for economic development, as that money was designated for back in 2008. We just never had a program to kind of show where we would spend it. This is really just solidifying that we as a village are establishing a program for the remainder of the TIF. These are the areas that were highlighted by by the PIC committee, of areas that they would like to see a program established. I give you a quick snapshot of the parameters of the program. Once we finalize this, then I will then sit down by each program and create, this is the submission document, this is what it looks like, this is the timeline. So all the details will come once you guys tell me if you're good with these variety of programs, like a menu. And that was at the request of the PIT chairman. He would like it to see more of a menu aspect where there's options. And the only other specific comment from PIT was, in PIT's eyes, this program, once approved by the village, would be managed by the administrator, and then the administrator would bring the projects to you all, either the full board or a committee, you tell me, would bring you in quarterly lumps to give you an idea where the money's being spent. It wasn't, this was PIT. It wasn't seen that every time someone applied for something, it would start with a committee, review it, question the person. The PIT committee looked at that as possibly slowing down the process because of our meeting schedules. And as long as it meets the parameters of the program that you all approve, the management will be through the administrator's office. And if I see there's an issue with a presentation or a proposal, I would immediately bring that to a committee to be determined for discussion. But if it's a cut and dry job creation one, and it meets all that criteria, it's issued. And then every 3 months through FHR, you'll get a summary of, this is where we spent our economic development funds on these projects with all the details. That's discussion. Totally. You guys shape it any way you want.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the reason we did this is because in the long run, this saves us money. Because if we dilly-dally with something that's very obvious, slowing down with the committee, and then maybe another month to get it to the board, then all of a sudden a contractor of under that $25,000 is just going to up the price because of delay, or take his bid back and not bid at all. And this isn't standing with water bills and all that stuff. You know, he makes the decision. They can appeal his decision to the board, but it just saves time and money.
Do you have anything?
no, glad to see the variety of programs being proposed. My one thought was, and I'm not sure how good it is, I'll throw it out there anyway. I'm wondering if they should be narrowed down to fewer programs with more money is what I'm wondering, but I don't have an idea of how and what, and the reason I reacted that way is probably I was looking at the daycare project, because that is an issue for me, and wondering if it would be more helpful to have more money in that, you know, in that area. But all of these are interesting, and I can see how they would appeal to different people and different, you know, for different reasons, obviously. So I don't know, that was just
So I did set not only a maximum applications that I would, and I say maximum, that's just all open for discussion. That's the maximum of grants requested, as well as the maximum allocation of the funds. Even by doing all that, we still have a $50,000 buffer in that account through TIF that we could utilize.
So all of these could be
I mean,
maximum of
if
50.
every one of these programs was fully executed by individuals, we would spend $200,000. We'd still have $50,000 left. So that I say that by if a daycare proposal came and they needed more than that amount, that is exactly when I would bring to the committee saying, hey, I need to up this. It's a great program. Are you willing to use some of that buffer money for that program?
Okay.
So we have the ability to influence that and to increase it. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, good to know.
Is there a way that we're gonna, I know this isn't finalized yet, is there a way that we're gonna market this besides just throwing it out on Facebook? Like that.
Sure.
A thing.
We can not only market it, we'll have it in our business council meeting once approved. So that's directly to those folks. We can have it at a school board meeting. We can present it there to the school system in case any of these fall in their wheelhouse. We'll do the village website and so on. My concern, if I go the route of, I can go the route of like a chamber, it broadens it so much that we may be getting applications from, they may think we're like legacy or encourage.
Oh, sure.
And while it's fine, I could easily just say no, I just don't need to waste my time saying no.
What about putting it, just tagging on to your comment, what about putting that up at the sign at the fire department?
Oh, sure.
Running, you know, as a, I don't know, every other day or, I mean, whatever the schedule is for that.
Yeah, no, we'll
Same
definitely have a
grants
marketing plan because
available.
we only have a year and 2 months to spend this. So it's really a short time frame to utilize that funds. Otherwise, we have to reallocate or just turn it in. So, yeah. Yep.
Ron, you have something?
No,
Okay.
Without any comment, I will take this to the PIT committee. They'll move it to the full board, and I'm hoping by at least May's meeting, we can get this finalized for an actual program.
All right, number 10, discussion on draft wage study progress and future payroll initiatives.
So you have some products in front of you. We've refined the wage study is the larger sheets of all the comparables with the communities. It's that 2-pager Excel sheet. It lists all the jobs in all similar communities. You have it on there?
yeah. We can do this on there.
My apologies. Of all the ones I didn't print out. So what we did, let me find a copy. What we did is I put it in the packet now. It's a 2-page. I'll pull it up on the screen. You can look at it. I apologize. I thought I printed that one. The bottom of that is the summary. So it's 2 pages of cities from 50 people all the way to Rapids. And with all the duty positions, and he gave you an idea of what they're all getting paid by all those positions. That came to, when you did the average of that, was the 2022 yellow line for all those positions. So these are positions at the bottom, go up. That's the average based on that document that our intern was helping me collect all that data from all these communities. So that's the average for that. The secondary line that's not highlighted is our current pay structure for those same positions. In red is the percentage difference between the averages, and just to show you that either we're underpaying, overpaying, or however you want to look at it. So that's the raw data that drove the below products. The second sheet is what your PAA audit in 2020 provided the village of a few of our positions and the range from minimum to maximum recommendations that was in the PA audit. To keep that same thought process, this was created based off of the new numbers with the updated pay from all the other communities. So that's this bandwidth right here. So you can see that because of 3 years later, you know, the economy and so on, pay rates going up, that obviously some of our categories have climbed from minimum what we would recommend through the standard what we would recommend through the maximum what we would recommend based on hiring or current employment. So that keeps you in the same range. The other product is using our current payroll. So that's gathering the data of where, if the village board wants to go down a route of resetting, I'll call it, the pay for certain positions, all positions, we would have a discussion about that product. And how close we want to get them to the what the average is for similar communities. That'd be the first discussion. Once we agree to, if we even touch that, then another initiative that came up through the employee survey that I am now in the process that I'll have to get meetings with the employees is if we went down the route of recommending to the village board that we change it from a annual cost of living to a potential grades over years of service, that's this product. So this gives you an idea that if we went down this road and the first bubble over here, you establish that there's a current pay for everyone. And based on the years, based on the years of service, they have step increases not tied to cost of living, not tied to a board action, tied strictly to their performance as well as their longevity. Their pay would increase over a percentage of time automatically. And the comparable I wanted to give you is that if we had a program like this, then in the totality of a 20-year career, it would end up basically being the same as giving your full-time employees a 2.2% pay raise every year. Even though the step may be a bigger bump after 2 years, 4 years, whatever, it would seem like we're giving a bigger bump. When you average it out for every year, it ends up being over 20 years. If we just did a 2.2% pay raise every year, they would have gotten the same in 20 years. So I want to give you a comparable there. Well, that's that product. I gave you some pluses and minuses. There's some concerns when the staff looked at this. That's the other product. There's some concerns when it comes to if we went down a road of step program. When it comes to longevity, or not longevity pay, but you're kind of locked into a pay for a certain amount of time based on the next step. And Diane brought up if you were kind of contemplating retirement, that could impact your last 3 years for retirement calculation. It'd be the same, it would show the same. So that's a concern because otherwise you may show 3 different increasing ones, your last 3 years of service based on cost of living and whatnot, then the state would recalculate that. Otherwise, you may be stuck in the three same pay, and they'll say, no, they're going to calculate your retirement off a 3-year-old pay. Okay, so that's a concern. And some others. It's obviously a larger, it could be a larger cost to the village up front by initiating a step type program, because what we would have to take in consideration that I have some very senior staff that if I reset them, and that's this last page, if I reset them to a step program, you would be looking at the numbers at the very top. So not only we would reset the pay for staff, there'd be that middle column is to initiate a step program. That'd be the cost, because I'd have to reset some of our folks at certain step levels. I'm not going to set a Diane, a Kim, a Ben Martinson that's been here close to 20 years. I'm not going to make them a 1-year employee. I would have to reset them of a position, step 20 or whatever we call it. So to do that, you'd move some folks around, you'd have an initial upfront cost there. That's based on their current years of service right now. And then the actual pay as it rolls forward is an assessment right there. So that's the first line. The second line is if we came to an understanding with our employees that, yes, you may have 20 years, we're trying a new program. I'm going to take your 20 years and reset you at a 10-year seniority person. You're still going to have 20 years of service, but for pay purposes, you're still going to get a pay raise. We're going to reset you at a step number 10 years. To do that, it gives everyone they all move together as a group now through the STEP program. To do that, it's a smaller upfront cost of $170,000. The pay would roughly be the same, about $2 million a year for payroll and benefits and so on, and moving that way. That's what I call there is the half step. Yeah, the half step plan. And then finally, if we just said, no, let's reset everybody's pay. Let's get it to 2024 standards. Let's keep them here for retention purposes. Just continue a potential 2 or 3 or 1% cost of living raise. That's your final column. If we just continue that as is, we reset everybody's pay, we get them all to line, and then we just continue to have a discussion at budget time. Are we going to do a 1% or 2%, whatever? That's that final bucket. As you see there, you go full bore with the STEP program over a 5-year window. Is that right? 4-year window. Over a 4-year window, it costs the village about $10 million. If you just do continual, 8 million, I'm sorry. If you just do continual cost of living raises, it costs the village about $7.3 million. All right. So that's the data. Other than having some meetings with my staff and the employees, the consensus was they're interested in a STEP program. They would like more information about it. And that's where it sits right now with me working with them to bring that back to you of, you know what, they like it. I have a survey. I've talked to them and looked them in the eye. They like it. What do you guys want to do as a village? That's what I'm doing. What I would offer to you guys, now you have all the raw data. However you want to move forward with this is up to the FHR and the full board. Questions?
The comment that I have is, you know, I would like to meet with the employees myself, if that's all right too, to see what their opinions are, or they meet with our committee, see what their feelings are. I'm sure maybe there will be different feelings towards either the STEP program or the percentages that we've gotten. But I guess I would like to know what their majority of the employees would think, and I would welcome them to come to the committee, and or I can come to them if that would be so be it. I mean, I would like to make sure that we're not doing something and we go to a STEP program and then we have a few employees that are upset that we did that. And I guess I want to make sure that we're all on the same page when we do something like this. The other thing is, you know, I'm not against doing that increase, but I think it's something that we should consider at budget time. I know that this is kind of working up to that budget time and making sure everybody's paid fairly across the board. So that's the only opinions I have on this at this point. Thanks for the information. That's good information.
And I'll get you the 2 spreadsheets that show all the comparables. I apologize. I'll get them printed off and get them to you.
Okay.
Sue, do you have anything?
No, I really don't. Glad they have it to consider, and yeah, we'll watch the outcome.
Okay. Number 11, discussion and potential motion to approve resolution 2023-03, resolution authorizing village staff to submit, coordinate, and execute the Wisconsin Urban Forestry Grant for $25,000. The expectation is that the village could match up to the $25,000 for village funds in 2024.
So you have a draft resolution. This is really just a timeliness thing that the grant that DNR, this came through the Parks and Rec as well as Public Works. The grant that's available through DNR requires, before they even look at the grant application, that the village shows a resolution that they're really serious about the potential of a match. DNR will not just give out the money. They want to know that the village is serious. and their timeline is the end of May. I wanted to get this thing in the queue if there's interest to move this. It's not the actual application, that's a separate process that I work with DNR on. But it just shows that we at the village want to address our ash borer as well as tree removal problems. We want to ask for $25,000, up to 25,000, and whatever money the DNR gives us up to 25, we would figure out in budget time if we can match it, and whatever we match, that's where they'll stop. They'll cut it off there. If we truly only say $5,000, then they'll only give us 5, but then at least we have $10,000 to cut down all the trees we have. I just need this. I would like to get this moved to the village board so I can get it to DNR and we can do the application before we miss that date. So
I'll second the motion. Did you put the, or make the motion?
You're gonna make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
support that.
second.
Okay, any other discussion on it? Any questions?
I think we've talked about it in Park and Recs. I think everybody's informed. I support it strongly.
Okay,
If you don't do it, you're foolish.
Yeah.
okay, then motion made by Becky, second by Mitchell. All in favor?
I
Okay. There's that one. The motion to go into closed session on purchases and competitive bargaining on Wisconsin State Statute 19.851E. Closed sessions are allowed when deliberating or negotiating the purchase or sale of public property, investment of public funds, or other specified public business when competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The competitive or bargaining reasons must relate to reasons benefiting body, not a private party's desire for confidentiality. I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Mitchell. We have to roll call vote.
Going in, you do have to have a roll call.
No, we don't have
And
to.
coming
Okay.
out, you can also just do it without objection yourself. You don't have to take a
Okay,
regular vote to come out.
okay. So I'll. Second names or-
I'm not.
Okay, okay,
You just do a voice vote. I'm fine. I'll capture it all. Yeah.
okay,
Yes.
yes.
yes, okay,
Okay.
so,
Gentlemen, what I would ask, this is going to be a closed session. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is dealing with sale of a property that we got to be confidential on. So I'll bring you right in as soon as it's done.
We're not gonna.
And you're obviously fine with us staying.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I am, yeah.
All right. Anyone online, I'm going to put you on mute. I'm going to keep the line open, but put you on mute not to hear for the closed session, so I don't lose the feed if you all don't mind.
back into open session.
Do we want to invite our friends in?
Yeah, I'll get them in.
You nailed it.
15:14 or 3:14 coming back in the.
Then we'll make the potential motion again on 15.
15:14.
Then the 251.
Y'all are good.
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion to approve the sale of the village property at 251 Market Avenue.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
No.
Okay, then all in favor?
Aye.
It'll be on the board agenda next week.
16, discussion of any old business.
Anything on the mill property?
I got, Mr. Roosh Developments coming tomorrow to do another walkthrough with his engineer of the office building. So, they're moving. They're actually bringing designs and wanted to know about connecting to our network. So it's interesting. Mill at, tomorrow morning, a phone call with their demolition company out of Chicago area on the timeline for the continued demolition of the mill. So they're gonna present the plan because what they need from us is a new demolition permit. And then I'll be able to, they have to give us some documentation there, then we'll renew the demo permit once I see the timeline for demolition. And then movement will happen over there. We did receive a grant from DNR for $20,000 to help us do a redevelopment plan of the mill property. So that just came yesterday. So they will take what's on the books right now with the office park and whatnot, and they will update that to give us better options of what we can do with the land in total at their cost. And there's no matching, there's nothing, they do it all. So that was a federal grant that came down very quickly. They picked our mill as a blighted property and we got that grant. So that's where we stand on the mill.
Good news.
Okay, any new business? Nope. Okay. Correspondence received?
Nothing on this area.
Okay. Obviously, agenda items and next meeting date are kind of on for this being here.
Yeah.
Okay, then at 5:17, I will, without objection, adjourn.
17.
I saw the look.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
all right. Thanks, Diane.